Hi guys, I'm gonna show you how I created this visual in Blender. It's gonna be pre-recorded. I'm just gonna talk over it. So yeah, let's start. First, I went on Pinterest. I tried to gather some references. Like I didn't know what to start with yet. So I found this visual that I really liked. It's like a cabin. It reminded me of the series The Vikings. So I kind of liked the aesthetic. I then went into ChatGPT to get some measurements, the focal length, and some more detail about the artwork, maybe the trees used and all that. It did a pretty good job. I got the focal length, I got the distance, the cabin size, the trees, what trees were used and all that. Once I have this, I went straight into Blender and I added my image as a reference to the camera. Then I used the built-in add-on for the landscape generator in Blender, and I tried to find the best match. Here I found this cliff that I liked, so I just scaled it up and tried to align it with the reference on the left. As you can see, the reference on the left is a very important part of the process because everything just lined there. As you can see now, I'm trying to align this cliff to the cliff originally in the artwork to match as much as I can the aesthetic and the composition of the shot. Here I did the same with the other cliff, just bigger. Next I went into Quixel Bridge to find some photoscanned asset because the key to realistic environment are scanned asset. They capture the real lighting, they have like 100% realism, they're 100% realistic. So you should always use them at least in your foregrounds, close to the camera. Next up, I start to model the ground. It's just a plane with a bunch of subdivision and I give it bumps using proportional editing tool. You can also use the sculpting tool or just give it a displacement map. Just don't let the floor be totally flat. Next up, I try to find a texture for the floor. So I'm searching for some basic grass texture. I like this one, so it's alright. I use it, but it's too big. So we gotta make it smaller. But when you make it smaller, there's a problem. You have these styling problems. So how you can fix that? You add the Voronoi texture and you connect the UV to the vectors. Then the color to the rotation. Then you add the value node and connect it to the scale. Now play with the value and you have 0 repetition. Next up, I imported my 3D scan and gave it the texture. I placed it into my scene based on my camera and the perspective. Then I used the proportional editing tool just to smooth the transition between my 3D asset and the floor that I already have. Then I opened my library and tried to find some good foliage that would match my scene. So here I'm using the botanic add-on, just a library of trees and foliage. It's a very powerful add-on, especially if you like to create environments and outdoor scenes. Here I like this tree, so I downloaded it, trying to work on the framing of my scene. So I'm actually looking at the camera view on the left. I'm trying to create a frame. I'm working on the framing of my scene. And the cube in the back actually represents the house that I'll be using later. So it's just a composition guideline. Next up, I opened fSpy. It's a software that gives you the exact location, rotation, and focal length of your camera. So I imported my reference image, matched the X and Y axis and exported my file. Now I imported my file into Blender. To do that you need to install an add-on. You can find it online for free. Once that is done, you can see that the camera is exactly like the reference and with the exact focal length. Okay, next up I'm texturing the mountains. I just used an image texture I found on the Blender kit. I scale it way down using the same technique as before. It doesn't look quite alright at first, but if you see it in the camera rendered view, it works. I desaturate it a bit just to make it blend more in the background, because everything that is far away should be more desaturated and everything close to the camera should be more saturated. Now here I'm searching for some foliage. It's a very important part. Here you'll start to see a difference between your render that is plain or something that's actually interesting. So foliage is a very important step in environmental design, especially if you're doing outdoor scenes like this. Here I found this grass model that I liked, so I scattered it using the geoscatter add-on. You can even randomize its scale and animate it as if there's wind. Now I just repeat the process for the 3D scan. Now is a very important step. It's the volumetric lighting. This can get your work from a 2 to a 7 in like one step. You add a cube, you give it a volume scatter node and the volume absorption node. You mix them together, and even the volume scatter node alone can get the work done. So using this method, if you add a sun or a spotlight, you can actually get some God rays, which lifts your work dramatically. Now I did the same things that I did to the grass, but with the trees. But some of them I just scattered manually, just to get the composition right, like mainly the one next to the house in front of the camera. Now for the rest of them, I scattered a bunch of them using the same method, the geoscatter add-on. I just scattered the background trees to make like a dense forest. Now once you get it right, you can start to feel the depth in the scene with the mountains barely visible in the back and the foliage in the front framing your scene with the main element that is the cabin. But later on I will be changing the cabin because this doesn't really fit my mood. Here I animated the trees with the botanic add-on. It has actually a very good foliage animator, mainly for trees. You can even change the speed and strength of the wind, make it bend more or make it move faster or slower. Now I did this to approximately all the trees in my scene, at least the main ones. Next up, I added a plane and gave it an image texture with the sky texture on it. This is a very good technique that I think I learned from Max Hay. So yeah, shout out to him. This actually lets you make some realistic skies or very cinematic skies without using an HDRI. You just put a sky that you like, that you can find online. Now instead of making my life a living hell and doing a smoke simulation for the chimney smoke, I'm just using a plane with the texture of a video. Plug the alpha into the alpha and there you go, you have your smoke simulation ready. Now here I didn't really like the texture of the water of the 3D scan, so I replaced it with the plane and gave it a water shader that I animated, so that way it would fit better, especially that the water will be in the foreground and the closest to the camera, so it will be very visible. Now that you have a strong base, I'm adding some more detail. So I added a giant rock to create a fake erosion, so I placed it in front of my cliff. I added some more trees manually just to see if I can add something like a plus to my scene. I tried to put them behind the cabin, in front of the cabin, left, right, just to see if they could help in some way. Now we're still in the detail part, so adding more detail, little detail like small rocks in the foreground. Usually you see these types of rocks in between the water and the grass, like if there's a lake or a river. So that's what I'm trying to do here, and it's actually doing something to my scene. It's making it much better, and the beauty lies in the little details like this. So I try to put them as much as I can in the foreground, then I try to scatter them more in the mid-ground near the cabin. I try to put like some bigger rocks to make like this Scandinavian feel. Now here I didn't really like the smoke going straight up, so I edited it using the edit mode just to make it as if there is wind, because the trees are moving, there is wind, the grass is moving, but the smoke is going straight up, which doesn't make a lot of sense. Now you can give a screenshot to Claude or ChatGPT and ask them for feedback and ratings. Usually it will be pretty accurate, and then based on this information you can tweak your scene and composite everything using or DaVinci Resolve or After Effects, and this is how you can create visuals like these. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and like, so I can create more videos for you guys and teach you how to create some cool visuals using 3D.